Okay, back with 50 and 50. Huge thanks to Genetics for their support in putting this together. 50 vlogs in 50 days, nearly 29,000 words written at this stage. A lot of content there, and it's all on the website and on the YouTube channel. So today I'm trying to respond to emails where I can about topics and different suggestions, and I got one yesterday about sheep, which I'll cover before the end. But I got a question about Cowsignals. What is it? You know, Cowsignals I talk about. How do you apply that on a farm? What's the training? What does that look like? So about 9 years ago, I went to Holland and I did my first course online, Cowsignals training online. Then I went to Holland to meet the founders, one of the founders of Cowsignals, and that's Joop Driesen. And I'm probably not doing his name justice, a Dutch vet and one of the most passionate, enthusiastic people I've ever met. Infectious enthusiasm and passion. And he came up with this idea of Cowsignals with his partner Jan Olsen many years ago. And it really is, some people when you talk about Cowsignals, you know, they talk about it being common sense almost, but it's not common. It's really simple in ways, but simple ideas are best. And it's about understanding, I suppose, the wants and needs of a cow. Look at the world through the eyes of a cow. What does that look like? And what if we build systems based on what the cow wants? Would she last longer in it? Would she be more productive? Would she be happier? And ultimately more profitable for farmers. So Cowsignals talks about happy cows, happy farmers and happy consumers, and a happy world, looking at keeping cows in systems for longer, more productive, healthier food. You're looking at better, less environmental impact. So I suppose Cowsignals is evolving all the time, like all farming is. But the ideas are quite simple, but they're quite brilliant in my opinion. Especially for somebody who did a lot of theoretical training on disease and infections and why that they occurred. But look, stepping back and understanding the biology of systems, the way systems work, and particularly the wants and needs of a cow. So the Cowsignals diamond, there's 6 elements to it. On this side, as Joop says, it's the cheaper side. You know, simple: water, light and air, getting them right, particularly for the indoor cow. Remembering 85% of our dairy cows in the world are indoors. And then on the other side, looking at feed, space and rest, cow comfort. When you look at feed, it's not the composition just of the feed, the space for the feed, a feed space per cow indoors is essential, and how easy cows can get to that feed, the space and moving around inside, and that rest is critical. So they talk about the 24-hour day for a cow, her time budget. She spends her time either eating indoors 6 to 8 hours or lying down and ruminating for 12 to 14 hours. And then she may be milking a small bit of time, socializing. So if a cow has a very strict time budget or day way she'd like to spend it, you've heard me talking about this before, when she steps outside of that, she's going to come under pressure. She's going to spend more time where she's not eating or not lying down, not milking. It's going to be standing time, and that's unproductive time. And if it's typically indoors on concrete, it's more pressure on feet as well. So standing cows in any system we'll talk about, and in Cowsignals be an alert or a warning, and what we call these UNOs. So unexplained notifiable observation. So we know how cows should be and want to be, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So it's about maximizing that. And looking through the eyes of the cows. And indoors, a very simple concept: 1 bed per cow, so she can do this, lie down, 1 feed space per cow. And I think it's really simple but really important. When I started applying this sort of thing, and I suppose Cowsignals is much more than what I'm going to talk about here, but it was about going into farms and this idea of think about what you see and act. And really, for me, I never did it before to the degree of I went in and look at the cow, spend time, look at the normal, and then really go through the cow from the tip of her nose to the tail. And she'll have signals on her, you know, if it's lameness indoors, her lesions in the hocks, knees, you know, if they've dirty udders, why are the udders dirty, low head carriage, bumps or lumps anywhere, empty rumens, poor body conditions. What are the cows telling us potentially themselves? And then when you look at cows acting in the environment, how many of them are standing, how many of them are not lying down, how many of them are lying down, what behaviour, what way are they lying down? Cows need a certain amount of space to lie down. These are freedoms of the pasture that we take for granted in grazing systems, but then when we put cows indoors, we must try and optimise a lot of these behaviours. And I suppose when we see them, we understand that cows aren't standing here, cows aren't lying down in these beds. Why are cows not going to this feed area? Where's water on the farm? How can they get to it? And see what you see at a cow level, a herd level, and an environmental level. Think about it and then take actions. And that's essentially, to me, a very quick summary of Cowsignals. And my thought for today is, one of the first times I heard this word was over in Holland with youth, and I've been very lucky as a vet to meet fantastic people who are enthusiastic, and you know, those type of people who encourage you to keep going, keep your interest. And he was just not, I suppose, for me, for youth was not just about animals and cows and everything. He's enthusiastic for life in general, and he brought us on a tour of the local area that night till about 12 o'clock, looking at cows and local history. Anyway, that day of training he talked about owneritis, a word I had never heard before. But owneritis is basically, and it's a simple concept, where if you walk into a shed and you do the same thing every day, you sort of miss things and don't see them. And it's familiarity, and I suppose that can happen to us all. And that's the value of someone coming into your farm and looking as an outsider and giving you advice. But it's something, probably owneritis can happen to all of us, not just in our sheds, in our farms, in our lives, where we don't step aside and take a look at things we're seeing every day, maybe taking for granted, or maybe mistakes we're making. So to me, that's what owneritis is. It should be avoided. So every so often, step back, take a look, see what you see, and just make sure that your consistent routines are what they should be. That's it. A huge thanks to you, Dreesen, and the Cowsignals team for their support and training, and I've really enjoyed being a master Cowsignals trainer. Happy safe farming, everybody.